Welcome to the SAP Tech YouTube channel. Today, we're going to dive deep into a really critical topic, SAP HANA High Availability. We're going to look at how it keeps your most important systems up and running, and then we'll explore the different system replication modes that make all the magic happen.
So let's just think about this for a second. Imagine a huge banking application just goes offline, right? All of a sudden, transactions stop, customers are getting angry, and you can bet that a whole lot of money is being lost with every passing second. For these kinds of systems, downtime is just not an option. So how do you prevent it? All right, here's the game plan. We'll start with the problem itself, downtime. Then we'll talk about the solution, which is high availability, and the engine that powers it, System Replication. And finally, we'll dig into the different modes you have to choose from. And trust me, this is where the really important decisions get made. You know, for so many companies, being operational 24/7 is everything. If you're relying on just one database, you have a huge single point of failure. If that database goes down, maybe it's a hardware problem, maybe a network glitch. Your whole application just stops. It's dead in the water. No transactions, no sales. It's a potential catastrophe.
So, the solution to this massive problem is a concept called high availability, or HA for short. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like having a co-pilot in an airplane ready to take the controls in a split second. The whole idea, the entire design, is built around one simple goal: get rid of any single point of failure.
And here's how it actually plays out in the real world. You've got your main primary database chugging along, handling everything. Then, bam, something happens and it fails. But because you've got that secondary standby database ready and waiting, the application connection just automatically flips over to it. The business keeps on running, and for most people, they probably won't even notice a blip.
Okay, but that brings up a really big question, right? How in the world does that secondary database have all the correct, perfectly up-to-the-minute data to take over so seamlessly? Well, that's where the real magic comes into play.
The magic is all thanks to a process called System Replication. You can literally think of it as a constant, real-time copy machine. Every single transaction, every bit of data that hits that primary database is instantly copied over to the secondary. This makes sure they are always in perfect sync. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because not all replication is created equal. You actually have to choose a specific mode for how this copying happens. And believe me, that choice has huge consequences for your system's performance and its data safety. So the first big decision is synchronous versus asynchronous. With synchronous, the primary database sends the data, and then it literally waits for the secondary to send a message back saying, "Yep, got it," before it finalizes the transaction. With asynchronous, though, the primary just sends the data and moves on. It doesn't wait for that confirmation. But wait, it gets even more detailed. Inside that super safe confirmation-based synchronous mode, you actually have two more options. And they offer this fascinating trade-off between getting things done super fast and being absolutely 100% safe. Okay, so the first option is called Sync-M. The M stands for memory. Here, the primary gets its confirmation as soon as the data hits the secondary server's incredibly fast RAM, so it's quick. The other option is just standard sync. With this one, the primary waits until it gets confirmation that the data is safely written all the way to the secondary's permanent disk storage. It's a bit slower, for sure, but it is the absolute safest option you can get.
So this is the crucial trade-off. This is the decision you have to make. You've got Sync-M giving you the highest performance, but, and it's a small but, there is a tiny risk if both of your systems happen to fail at the exact same time. Then you've got Standard Sync, which guarantees zero data loss, period. And then there's Async, which has no performance impact at all. But as we're about to see, it's used for a completely different reason. And that brings us perfectly to our final key takeaway. It's all about understanding the difference between high availability, which is usually in one location, and disaster recovery, which happens across really long distances.
So while those two synchronous modes are perfect for high availability where your servers are pretty close to each other, asynchronous mode is built for disaster recovery. I mean, think about it. What if your backup data center is in a different city or even a different country? The network delay, the latency, makes waiting for a confirmation totally impractical. So for that long haul, you use async. So when you get right down to it, choosing the right replication mode isn't really a technical setting. It's a fundamental business decision. You have to ask your team one simple but very tough question. What is our tolerance for risk? Or to put it another way, how much data can our business really, truly afford to lose? The answer to that question is what tells you exactly which mode you need to choose.
Hey, if you found this breakdown of HANA High Availability helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button, maybe share it with a colleague who could use it, and of course, make sure you subscribe to the SAP Tech channel for more deep dives just like this one.
We've really just covered the core concepts today to give you a good, solid foundation. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty, a really detailed step-by-step guide, please check out the information that we've linked for you in the description below. Thanks so much for watching.